to begin the print editor, we'll go to the server, and if we go to the Start menu, then Programs, find the Planmeca program group, and find the Remexis configuration. So Remexis configuration is where we have our global settings and global interface for all the Remexis clients, which are basically all installed in the operatory computers or consultation rooms. So the username is SYSADM, password all lowercase Promax, P-R-O-M-A-X. Click OK. And if we skip down to the print, you'll notice that we have these three types of logos we could add to. Remexis logo is actually already added to the prints, and it will say Planmeca Remexis in the upper right side of the prints. And the footer is actually the website address for planmeca.com at the footer area. You can replace these with your own if you have others, but currently the client logo is empty. So it's going to be in the upper left side of the print by default. So let's add one. So we click the Browse, and we go to our pictures. Okay, so I have to go to my pictures. Apparently that shortcut did not work. And here we go, My Pictures. And if we select the option for all files, I actually have one. I've just called it Practice Name Sample, and it's actually a JPEG. Now, these JPEGs you can convert to a PNG if you just open them with like a Paint program, Microsoft Paint, and then when you go to save them, just change the file format, file type down below for the type of file you'll save it as. You can just save it as a PNG. I'm going to load this JPEG. Click Open. Tell me that I successfully updated the logo. We have to be sure that the Show Client logo is enabled, so it is, and we're good. So now we can continue on to the print editor in the Remexis to create our custom print layout. So we click the OK, and we'll now reopen the Remexis. I'm just going to my Start menu to find this. I'm going to find my patient, who has a last name of Patient, first name Test. Double-click this patient. Wait while their images load. I'll start with a 4-Bitewing series. So notice we have a Browser tab and a Study tab. I will open first the Study tab, identify which of these I'd like to print. So let's just open this one. I do select View Study. Now let's customize this for printing. So you go to the print editor again. Okay, so then just like before, we need to go to the page setup in the upper left. We need to then select the edit options for the header and footer, change page size to letter for the 8.5 by 11-inch paper. Click the OK. We need to adjust the images. So I apparently selected a particular set of images that have varying sensor sizes. So we just scale them so they match similar size. If you're all taken with the same image, with the same sensor rather, the same image size, they would all be the same. Okay, so now that I've got them customized to the paper, if you like them laid out like this, that's fine. You could always put them on, stack them on top of each other, so any which way you would like to do this. So everything's the same. So when you're customizing the labels, I'm going to first select this first image. I'm going to make sure I set for all labels. I can adjust the font size, bold or not bold, italic or not. background, foreground color, opacity. We have the labels below. So just like before, we can remove the free text scale by deleting this, selecting the image scale percentage, deleting this as well, and it's removed from this. So we can identify what this date means by clicking on the Add button, which is by default free text. Double-click the text box, typing in exposure date, pressing Enter, reselecting this field, clicking on the up until it's above the image date field, and do a line break after the image date. So basically does a carriage return after it, starts a new line for the rest of the image information. Okay, so maybe I don't want to add this information, so I will delete, delete, delete. So just keep deleting any of the labels we don't want. So also probably don't want the label on the actual image, so we'll move it below the image, and maybe even change the font size. So maybe 12, a little too large, make it smaller with the 8. So do everything the same, set for all labels, put it below, change the font size to match. You could either find the 8 with the arrows or type in the box. Okay, so we also want to remove this scale percentage by deleting this, scale free text. You could leave in the image comment if you want. Probably want to identify the same as before for the image date, which I've identified as exposure date with a label. Okay, press Enter when you're done typing, and then use the up to position it before the image date field. Do a line break of yes. And then we want to remove this other information by deleting it. So you have to make sure you set it for all labels so that we move it appropriately. So next one, make sure that you select the image, set for all labels, put them below, adjust the size, typing 8, adding in a free text of exposure date, putting this before, removing this other extraneous information,
Chris Durbin, 3017. Chris Durbin, dial 3017, please.
Okay, so got my label below. Selecting this image again, selecting for all the labels, putting them below, changing font size again, hit OK, and then go ahead and remove any extraneous information, qualify what image date means with a free text. Okay, so we have to reselect the image again, set for all labels, be sure that we put it below. Great, so now we have this customized. Make sure you position it, everything that we want for future. And we go to then Save Layout as a name template. We're going to call this Custom 4BWX Print. Click the OK. So now every time we open these particular images again, they will scale, pop into position as needed, or as customized rather. We can close this, and we can also reprint it. Notice they don't pop into position right away because I did not save it as the default. If I had, if we only take these types of prints, then we may want to do this. But because I've chosen to give it a name, I choose that name, and everything will then